we doing?
Nick, when you bring in guys in the middle of the year or like into training camp, guys who weren't here initially, I mean, we know the football process about getting them extra work, but what about like the acclimating them into the culture and the building and the team? Like, how does that process work for you guys?
Yeah, first and foremost, you have to get them to learn the system, and so they're ready to play. But it really works by the people that we have in this building, right? They reach out, our players, just getting excited about the new faces in here, talking to them, and that's the beginning part of it because it's all about connecting. I try to do my part of it too by getting to know the guy a little bit as much as we can until but it's a process to. Again, it's the guys that we have in here, but then as we continue on, it's a process, right? And it's just being intentional about our core values, of mainly connecting, and they just kind of see how the things are working in here, and it's really up to our leaders, and that's why we got really good leaders to bring these guys in.
So, what are your first impressions of Kevin, and what do you think he adds to your team?
Yeah, again, I've had a lot of just watching him as a player, being on the other sideline of him when he was in Tennessee and I was in Indy. So obviously, as a player, I have a lot of respect there. And then also know the people. I know some people in the building at Tennessee, and they can't say more good things about him. Very high praise as a player, very high praise as a person, very high praise as a leader. And so we know we're not only getting a good person, we're getting a good player, but also a good person, and that's exciting because when you get the right people in here, that they're going to be able to handle the ups and downs of the season. And so really excited about that. We'll be out in the field today, so be able to obviously with walkthrough, but hear him communicate and all those different things today, and see how he's picking up the defense.
Experience, that he's had over the years and everything, do you expect him to be able to make that transition much smoother than let's say?
Yeah, I think so. And he's played in different systems and different ways of doing things. So yeah, I think again, everything we know about Kevin is obviously besides the playing stuff, it's about how big of a student of the game he is also, and then just the type of leader and type of person he is.
When everyone's healthy, you're going to have a ton of experience in that secondary. What does that give you beyond the talent?
Yeah, obviously, the different, the more experience you have, you've seen different things, and that's huge. Like the different route combinations, the different players in the league. These guys, keep a lot of tabs on the players that they play against, and the coordinators they play against. So that's huge in the recognition. Defense players, they get paid to stop plays, right, and to stop players. And so, those two things, he's had a lot of experience with both. So, and our defense is going to have had a lot of experience with both. So that experience is really good. But you also have the mix of some young guys that are out there playing, or going around there and playing. I thought Eli did a really nice job, and Sydney did a nice job, and so it's a good mixture, just kind of like what we have on the defensive line, right? The mixture of the young guys and the guys that have been around here for a little bit, and that's proved to be good, and so we know that will prove to be good in the secondary as well.
What's Jalen's status, and I guess what sense do you have of how he's going to have to manage this going forward?
Yeah, I'll let you guys ask him about how he's feeling. We're confident that he'll be ready to go, but it's anytime anytime these guys are working through pain and things like that, I mean they gotta we anticipate them to go, but that doesn't mean it's easy, right? And so we're again, we'll see, as we're not going to be out in the field running around today. So I still need a little bit more time but I think he's feeling better. But I'll let you guys ask him that. And so we're hopeful that he'll be no limitations on Sunday.
Nick, you had mentioned after the game Sunday night about, the Tush push creating a 1st and 9 kind of mentality for you guys. How far do you kind of push that in terms of the options that you have when you're calling plays? Like, when you guys are sitting around thinking about, okay, we know we can do this at any time. We can get this yard pretty much any time we want it. How far then do you and your coaches and maybe people in the front office think about what else can we do with this? How far can we push our play calling and things we do because we have this play?
You know, one thing that happens a lot in this play is like it's not easy to get to 3rd and 1, but we're there quite. You know, I think there's a lot of attention that when we get on 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 or 2 or whatever it is, we're running this play at times, right? And so there becomes a lot of attention on it because of the amount of times we've done it. But to get to 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, that's not easy in itself. And our guys have done a really nice job of when we do run this, it's because they put themselves in position on 1st and 2nd down and 3rd down sometimes to get to that spot. And so, you know, I think it's just that the success that we're having on 1st and 2nd down is putting us into this spot. And so I'm not sure I'm answering your question.
You know, if, let's say it's late in the game, okay? You're trying to run out the clock, 2nd and 1. I'm just spitballing here. Would you take a knee to run more time off? Because you knew at 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, you can run this play.
No, I don't think I'd ever put ourselves in position to take a knee to do that. Again, it's not you get different defenses on 2nd and 1 than you get on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1. Like, I don't think I'd ever do that, you know, because, I just, that's my initial, you asked that question, that's my initial thought, I guess, on that one. But we're confident in the play, as you know, and we're confident that we can, you know, I think the next question you'd probably would ask is like, well, why wouldn't you take a shot on 3rd and 1? Maybe I didn't know if you were going there. Because again, it's not like, again, we trust it and we believe in it, but it's not like this automatic thing. Some points, you know, I'm going to stop answering how I'm answering right now because I feel like I'm giving too much information. But we are confident in the play, and I showed a clip today of just the belief our guys had in it. You know, there's in the TV copy, you know, when I called the timeout and told the offense they're going back in the field, there's a picture of Slay kind of going out in the field, and then he walks right back and goes and sits down on the bench. He had confidence in it enough to go sit on the bench and know that he's not going back in the game in that particular one. So, yeah, the whole organization has confidence in this play.
The vast improvement in the run defense, was that something at the end of last year that you felt needed to be addressed this year?
Yeah, I mean, you're always looking at where you are, and when you do any sort of self-scout, you're looking at where you fall in line and with the rest of the league and what you can do to improve it, and different things like that. And so we were, I don't remember exactly, but I know we were like 15, 16, somewhere in there. We're 20s. I don't know. You tell me.
It's around there.
Yeah. And so you look at those things and you always want to improve on the things that you feel like you can do better. You know, and so, you know, at this point, at this stage in the game, we're thinking to ourselves, well, we're like 18th in turnover differential. Obviously, no one's satisfied with that. We want to work at that. Well, it's the same thing with your run defense. It's the same thing with your red zone offense. It's the same thing with your if you're not up to par of where you think you should be, and you look at it and you try to paint the picture of why you're not where you're supposed to be. And so, yeah, but also with this new, you know, with the new, I want to say system, but, you know, with Sean coming in here, there's a lot of time spent in that off season about implementing your scheme and all those different things while still looking at the things that you weren't successful on, even in the year before. And so anytime like that, you're always thinking about that and the emphasis of improving things that appear to be your weakness.
You mentioned Jalen and how he's feeling, and we'll talk to him a little bit later, but curious, we don't get to see Marcus that much. Now that you've been with him for a while, how do you feel? What has he shown?
Marcus? Yeah. You know, he's great in the room. He's got an ability to really be explosive. I think he's a weapon with the ball in his hands. And we like the way he goes through progressions and throws the football. And so he's played a lot of football games. And we have the utmost confidence in him that if he had to step into play, he'd be ready to go because he's a pro. He's been in the system for some time now, and you know. And we have confidence that he would be able to make plays because he's a playmaker.
Statistically, defenses are playing more zone defense, zone coverage around the league. Have you noticed that teams doing that against you guys, and why do you think that is, whether it's against you or just in general?
You know, you go into each, I don't look at it like this, right? I'm looking at it from this opponent. And so you notice going into games what they're playing, right? And so I guess to say, yeah, I noticed that they're playing a lot of zone. I'm so locked in and focused on the team that we're playing that I don't see the big picture like that in this sense, right? I see the big picture of the Washington Commanders, but maybe not of the entire league. And so, yeah, I mean, as the teams that we've played some different unique defenses, where, you know, sometimes that's a match type zone and sometimes that's a zone drop type zone. And, you know, all zones aren't completely equal, as you know, right? You got middle open, 2 high zones, you have middle, 1 high zones where it's match, 1 high zones where it's not match. And so, I mean, there are more zone coverages than man coverages, obviously, right? And so, yeah, I guess long story short, I don't see it that way because I'm so locked into the team that we're going to play, and this team does a good job of mixing coverages, both man and zone.
We'll do 2 more, please.
When you brought in, you know, guys like Leo Jones and also Byard, like were you able to see last year how much, like, an effect, like having those veteran guys like Sue and Joseph helped out guys like Jordan Davis and Kobe Dean, and was that part of the, you know, process as far as bringing these guys in this year to help?
Yeah, you try to think about every scenario, and that's definitely the benefit of being around an experienced veteran that's had a lot of success is that you know, maybe your younger guys don't play as much, but they learn from them, right? And you know, I think we've seen with, you know, N'Kobe's had a good start to the season. Obviously been injured, but he's had some nice games that he's played in. Cam Jurgens, the games he's played in, he's had some nice games. Jordan Davis wasn't thrusted into the scene last year as much because he had some guys that he was sharing time with, and you see that all these guys that learn from these guys and I don't want to say that always that sitting out a year is a good thing, but in some cases it is, in some cases it's not. But what's important is that they're learning from, you know, the right type of guys, and we just feel like that's the type of guys we have here. You see it with our offense and defensive line, with, you know, all the time with the development of those guys. So it's the same thing there with the secondary. And again, you know, Kevin's going to be doing everything that he needs to do to get acclimated to being ready to play, to knowing his players. But sometimes you can learn from guys. A lot of the times you can learn from guys if you're being observant without even talking to that guy. You know what I mean? Because of the way they go about their business, the way they play the game.
Last one. From a size and skill perspective, he's different than OZ and Quez. How does that affect the way you use the other receivers on the field?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Again, you try to do the things that your guys do well and put them in positions to succeed, to do well. And so, you know, that's learning that through, you know, with Julio, we know that he's been successful in this league for a long time, so we know he does a lot of things well. But it's also learning exactly what he does well and being able to put him in on that. And same thing with OZ, and same thing with Quez, and same thing with Devontae and AJ and Dallas. You're trying to put them in positions to succeed while also not tipping your hat that, hey, every time he's here, we're doing this, or every time he's there, we're doing that. And so, but definitely when you have a receiver core, you don't want everyone to have the same skill set, right? It's almost like a basketball team. You don't want 5 point guards. You don't want 5 centers. You don't want 5 power forwards. You want guys to be able to do different things so you can attack the field different ways, right? And so we feel like this is a well-rounded room where we have that. You got, you know, and Julio only adds to that. And so we're excited about the room we have moving forward, and we'll continue to see how the roles kind of define themselves.
All right. Thanks,